Columbus Day ain't what you think.
I think it's out of control. They want to get rid of Columbus Day. I think all Italian Americans think he was probably a scumbag.
Do they?
Yeah.
I think Italian Americans love Columbus.
No, we just like to have a holiday. Just give us a holiday. We didn't do nothing to nobody.
Bro, they love Christopher Columbus.
Dude, I Googled it. He was a scumbag. Look at Wikipedia. But don't take the whole day from us.
What did he do?
He, pillaged and all that stuff.
He's out of line, but he's right.
Pretty much everyone knows by now that Christopher Columbus was a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad dude who also sucked at his job. And the gentleman in that clip, he's not wrong. He does a solid job explaining why Italian Americans still hold on to Columbus Day if not Columbus himself. And that video sent me down a rabbit hole on the real history of the holiday and the political drama behind it. First things first, despite the nursery rhyme,
in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue.
Man's never set foot in the United States. The closest Columbus ever got to North America, let alone the US, was the Bahamas.
Captain of endless mistakes, one of history's luckiest fakes. Are we sure he deserves his own day? He never even set foot in the USA.
For the United States, turning Columbus into a hero wasn't about him being Italian at all. It was, but it wasn't. It was about creating a non-British national identity after independence. And Columbus became a symbol of that new world identity. And his name showed up everywhere. King's College became Columbia University.
I'ma get a scholarship to King's College.
The US named its own capital the District of Columbia. Even Columbia Pictures, that torch lady who appeared before all the Spider-Man films, she's Lady Columbia, a personification of the young nation that emerged in the 1790s. So yeah, America used Columbus to define a legacy that wasn't British. His Italian roots were pretty much irrelevant. He could have been Dutch for all they cared. For Italian Americans though, his being Italian was everything. By the mid-1800s, Columbus Day had already become a celebration in their communities of Italian and Italian American pride, heritage, and resiliency. It wasn't necessarily about the man, it was about them as first-generation immigrants. Sure, some probably took pride in his, discovery.
Look, what do you mean you've been here for generations and generations and you have your own ecosystem and war and hierarchy? It's I just got here, so it's been discovered. And they're like, I don't really think it works like that, dude.
But for many, it was more like celebrating an Italian doing something big, a reflection of their potential. Think about it like black folks on the 4th of July. Yes, a few special kinfolk might celebrate the revolution, but historically for most of us, it's National Negro Cookout Day. Culture, community, and camaraderie. Same energy for Irish American celebrations of St. Patrick's Day. Everything changed though in 1891, after the murder of Police Superintendent David Hennessy in New Orleans. Before he died, he allegedly said his assailants were the Dagos, a slur for Italians sparking massive anti-Italian hysteria. Within days, dozens if not hundreds of Italian immigrants were arrested. The mayor fueled the flames by literally calling for citizens to, quote, teach these people a lesson, unquote. After 6 of the men were tried and found innocent, a mob used a battering ram to break into the jail where they were at and lynched 11 Italian Americans, including 5 men who weren't even on trial. It became one of the largest mass lynchings in U.S. history, and no one was prosecuted. But the violence caused an international mess between the U.S. and Italy. President Benjamin Harrison, trying to ease tensions and win over Italian American voters in a tight election year, saw an opportunity. In 1892, he proclaimed a one-time national holiday, honoring the 400 years since Columbus's voyage, a way to celebrate patriotism and unity. That celebration included the first public reading of what would become the Pledge of Allegiance. For America as a nation, it was about patriotism and American exceptionalism, not Italian heritage. In fact, after serving that purpose, Columbus Day wouldn't get national attention again until the 40s and wouldn't become a holiday until 1971. For Italian Americans, though, the 1892 celebration felt like recognition, maybe even reconciliation. Today, thanks to Indigenous and Native advocates, we've gotten much clearer about who Columbus really was. A man responsible for brutality, exploitation, genocide, and for being a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad dude who sucked at his job.
Y'all the Indians, right? This is y'all the Indians? Nah. I don't even know what that is. Nah, this is India, right here. We landed in India, right? No, it's not.
Many states and cities have replaced Columbus Day with Indigenous Peoples Day, honoring the first peoples of this land. Others, like Colorado, celebrate Francis Xavier Cabrini Day, keeping the Italian-American heritage but dropping Columbus entirely. The original video gets to the heart of what I think is very true. For many Italian-Americans, this day is just a day to celebrate the distinct American-Italian identity that has existed in America. Still, some do see Columbus as proof that they belong in the quote-unquote American story, and any attempt to rename it feels like erasure. But really, it exposes how much of a house of cards the white American identity has always been. Remember, even with 14 Irish presidents before him, John F. Kennedy still had to give speech after speech, proving he wouldn't follow the Pope and become a rogue agent as an Irish Catholic.
While the so-called religious issue is necessarily and properly the chief topic here tonight, I want to emphasize from the outset that I believe that we have far more critical issues in the 1960 campaign.
Leonardo DiCaprio, born in 1974, just told us,
I finally got an agent. They said, your name is too ethnic. I go, what do you mean? It's Leonardo DiCaprio. They go, no, too ethnic, they're never going to hire you. Your new name is Lenny Williams. I said, what is Lenny? I was 12:30. I said, what is Lenny Williams?
So when people defend Columbus Day, it's often less about him and either about holding on to that culture of Italian Americans or attempting to stay situated in a fragile system that pressures white Americans to melt away any unique ethnic enclave markers. We can hold both truths. Indigenous Peoples Day matters. Italian American Heritage Day could too. Both help us understand America's real story, one built through race, migration, and mythmaking that shapes this country's history, heritage, and contradictions. Both deserve to be told honestly. But one thing's for sure, we can all stop honoring, celebrating, and contributing to the myth of who Christopher Columbus was. Because at the end of the day, who he was a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad dude who sucked at his job. Or, to put it plainly,
He was a scumbag.